it's pretty wide open, I'd say.
So, yeah.
We're on
go to
spring.
bar.
We're on live now.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
We're up and running.
Cool. Well, we're gonna let a few viewers join in here. My YouTube stream still isn't showing that we're on, but I'm gonna refresh it. I feel like this is how we start every single week, but we're here now, and we're gonna get rocking and rolling here. This is what is this, Keith? Is this season 2 episode? It doesn't say it on the film notes, but I'm gonna go with 6. That sounds like
that's probably about right.
Right. So today we're gonna be talking about all things Rendezvous. We talk about it all the time. You probably hear about it 100 times when you're buying a boat, big boats, little boats, about the different owner appreciation events and customer rendezvous. So that's what we're talking about today. This is Boating Tips Live with Marine Max. You can follow us at Marine Max, simple as that, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music. All those good places you can find us, even if you can't catch us live. And we're here to answer your questions, so drop them in the comments. Captain Keith, what do you say, man? And we got a guest, too.
Yeah, we do. So, hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. It's Captain Keith checking in with you here from Clearwater. Just got off the water a little bit ago. It's a beautiful day down here. Water temperature's up to about 72 degrees. Kingfish are here. Mackerel are here. Dolphins are everywhere out in the bay. It's just... actually, it was on a Ray Marine unit. We had the down view going, the down vision, and there's a whole bunch of bait up in Old Tampa Bay. Actually, it was over by Davis Islands, and I swear there was 2 tarpon swam right underneath the boat. You could see them plain as day on the Ray Marine, MFD. It was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that must be nice. That must be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the temp up there today, Matt?
I'd say right now we're probably looking at a nice crisp 22 degrees.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. And last week, the best part was Monday, it was like 60 degrees. I got off the plane from the airport. I was like, it's spring. This is great. And no longer. We're back in New England. Switches like a drop of a hat.
Yeah. So you came off the plane. Where were you coming from?
So we went down to Key West for the Galleon Rendezvous. It was the weather was perfect until about the end, and then the waves started kicking up. So we ended up leaving some boats there. It was that bad, but it was still 65, 70 degrees compared to up here. We've been freezing. This is probably the nicest tan I've had in one.
I love it, man. In the spring up in New England, you go up there, you have a tan, you come back from Florida, everybody looks at you like you're from a different planet.
100%. The knees down there are just white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Vito? Thanks for joining us on Facebook. And what's up, Lisa, tuning in from beautiful, sunny Clearwater, Florida. Thanks for joining us, Lisa. Long-time Boating Tips Live viewer. Got to give the shout outs and stuff. Guys, don't be afraid to drop those questions down below too, because without those questions, we just kind of sit here and twiddle our thumbs like a bunch of buffoons. So go ahead and drop those questions. But with that being said, we're going to stick to the topic today. Matt is going to get in depth about anything owner rendezvous related. Your questions answered. So go ahead, fire them off. But first of all, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here where you are and exactly what you do with Marine Max.
So I actually started with Marine Max just under 2 years ago. I was in the car business for about 9 years, but I grew up boating up in New Hampshire, the 603. Grew up going to Winnipesaukee, the Merrimack River, the landlocked portion of the Merrimack. You guys don't probably know about that at all.
No.
But Winnipesaukee is a beautiful lake, so I've always been a part of boating. And car guys love boats, and I feel like boat guys love cars, so it kind of went hand in hand.
It goes both ways.
You know what I mean? And so it just kind of fell into place.
What's up, Lewis?
And I've been doing great since. Great company. Sell a lot of boats. I mean, it's probably the best time to start selling boats ever was when I signed on. Right after COVID, we went into lockdown and nobody had anything to do except, literally you can't travel. You can't do anything except, spend time on the water with your family. It kind of worked out perfect for me, as sad as COVID is. I'm not saying it's not a serious thing, but, it never made boating so relevant. So I was pretty fortunate to start when I did. I work up in Marine Max Danvers, North Shore, beautiful boating up here. You go up to Wingershik Beach, a lot of boats. I mean, and then the mouth of the Merrimack, where it's not landlocked, is where a lot of the boating is up here as well. So yeah, I just kind of fell into the position, and it's been great so far. I really can't complain. Marine Max offers a ton of stuff, and the reason why I'm here is because of the Galleon Rendezvous, which is just, it was so perfect. It was like an elite vacation that was just perfect.
So did you have boats actually travel down from all the way up there?
Oh yeah. So my
Cool.
partner and I, he keeps his boat in the winter in Fort Lauderdale. So we ran his boat, 500 fly Galleon, from Lauderdale at the Bahia Mar all the way down to the Galleon Marina in Key West. We stopped at the Isle Morada, which is like the coolest little spot. We pull right up, guys just chilling on the gas dock, just like, come on in. We go in, there's manatees everywhere, pelicans. It's pretty awesome. We built up, went on down. I mean, the water was a little rough, actually heading into it.
Yeah,
it's not that rough on a 50-foot boat, but at the same time, it was pretty awesome to bring the boat down. And there was galleons the whole way through. On the west coast of Florida, there was another fleet of galleons on the way down too. So we all kind of merged at the same time. It was pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple from hey Vito, we'll get to that question here in a second, but out of St. Pete, we had a couple. We had Justin Lindhorst was down there on a 640. We had another 550 or 560 that came from our store as well. And that's Key West, you can't go wrong with Key West.
No.
I'm sure you guys did a Duval crawl a night or two.
Oh yeah.
And and it kind of get to experience that kind of life. And there's some, I mean, it's not me going into a sale pitch here. There is a lot of memories made, and just really getting the most out of your boat with like-minded individuals, and you get to meet a lot of great people, create a lot of good memories. So we'll get into that in a minute. We've got a segment coming up about our favorite rendezvous story. We're going to go one by one. First, we're going to get to a couple questions from the side right there. We've got Vito Lucci here joining in on Facebook. How long is the trip to Captiva from Sarasota? Captiva is great. You got South Seas Resort there. To answer your question, Vito, I guess it really depends on a couple things. One, how fast of a boat are you going in? And two, if you're taking the inside or the outside, because those bridges can add a lot of time on your trip. So, Keith, you want to elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah, I mean, the bridges and the minimum wake zones too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to take you a couple extra hours going the inside.
Oh, yeah.
But you're probably looking, I don't know, 2 hours, 2.5 hours probably, on the outside running down.
Yeah.
It's not a long trip at all, but it'll definitely add time on the inside. We've got a trip going Thursday down
the
to
Whaler trip.
Yeah, down. No, it's just a getaway. It's down to Pink Shell, and it's supposed to be blowing pretty good. So I know Jacob's leading that trip, but I think he's going to take him on the inside going down. But heck, man, I mean, what's the race? It's beautiful. Yeah. You're cruising down the intercoastal waterway in Florida. You're between the barrier islands and the beach and the mainland, and you got a nice ride down.
It's a great way to see the whole west coast of Florida too. We're blessed enough to have such a great intercoastal system down here. And when I went to Captiva 2 weeks ago, I took the inside both times because it was honking both times. And besides Tampa Bay getting a little snotty and going across Boca Grande, it was nice, man. And it's a great way to see the west coast of Florida. It's fun calling for the bridges. It takes a long time, but it's definitely the scenic route, as I like to call it. But like you said, it's what's the race.
Yep.
So I hope that answered your question, Vito. You got a couple other people joining in. We've got Michael Lucas, longtime Boating Tips Live watcher. Welcome from Safety Harbor, Florida. Thanks for joining us, Michael. And we've got Danelle here from. Well, she's got a fishing rod in her hand. Looks like she's from St. Pete. So hi, Danelle with Reeling Freedom, and thanks for joining us. Thanks for everything that you guys do as well.
Brian Drapp's in here too. I see him logged in here a little bit ago.
All right, let's see those questions, Brian. So here, let's go into a few questions here, Matt. Let's talk about what exactly is an owner's rendezvous.
So an owner's rendezvous is basically like it's the manufacturer, but also Marine Max coming together to kind of bring boaters together to use their boats. Me being so new to the company, I just thought from an outside looking in, how perfect of an idea, because we have so many first time boaters to be able to bring everybody together to ask questions. They have service there. The Rendezvous is just so much information, but it's such a good time at the same time that it's like a perfect storm of fun. I mean, to answer your question, that's pretty much an owner's rendezvous, right? I mean, everybody gets together. We went to the Galleon one, but you guys have Boston Whaler ones, Asmund ones coming up in a couple of weekends. So that's pretty much what I think of a rendezvous, right?
Yeah, got a big Aquila one coming up too. We have the Aquila Owners Rendezvous here in July.
Mhm.
That one is my favorite one. That's a huge event, and they didn't do it last year. So I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of bent up. I'm not going to say it. All right, I'll say it. A bunch of bent up budget money left over to do it twice as good as last year.
Yeah, they definitely didn't slack at the Galleon one. I mean, it was to the T. The food was great. The parties were great. Dinners were awesome. They did a great job.
Don't they do a lot of big Asmund ones up your way, like Nantucket, Newport, stuff like that?
Yep. So they had I'm pretty sure last year it was in Newport, Nantucket. I wasn't there, but my boss, or my old boss Blake, he and Jared went, and Dave went. They had a blast. Pictures, saw them on Facebook. They showed them when they came back. I mean, it's literally just everybody with the boat, the brand, getting together and having a good time. It gives an excuse to go use your boat. In the Northeast, we have 120 days compared to 365 down there. So any event to get on your boat and have a good day is a great event.
Yeah. So. You got Lisa Love 9000 down there on YouTube. Who can attend Owners Rendezvous? Is there any boat length criteria?
I don't believe there's a boat length criteria at all. If we had a Boston Whaler one last year, I sold a ton of 11 sports, 13 sports, 17 hot dogs. I'll tell you what, I could probably fill 30 of my customers rafted up and having a great time. I don't think there's going to be a length at all, right?
Yeah, well, Keith, at the scalloping getaway, notice how I said that, Matt? Scalloping.
I like that.
Scallop.
Yeah, not scallops. At the scalloping getaway in Crystal River, how many 17 Montauk's, how many little boats like that?
Oh, we had 13 super sports.
Yeah.
In all sizes. We have people run up a 35 realm, come up there by water, but like that trip, for the most part, it's kind of smaller boats. People trailer them up and get the boat ramp right there. But Crystal River, I mean, the water's deep enough. You can pretty much get any size boat up in there to the marina there. But all sizes, all shapes, doesn't matter. Now that's a getaway. And that's, that might be Sea Rays. That might be Sea Rays, Whalers, Nautic Stars, Nautiques, just anything that, we sell. Now the rendezvous, I believe, like the dealer, not the dealerships, but the boat manufacturers are kicking in a lot of the money on that. So that's just relegated strictly to the type of boat, whether it's a Galleon, a Whaler, a Sea Ray, or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at Galleon, we had Volvo, we had the Kenyon Cookware. So they were the two big sponsors that were there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up as well. You'll see a lot of those component manufacturers too also kick in. So got a couple good questions here. We got one from Landon right there at the bottom. Are the rendezvous and getaways free? Define free, Landon.
Yeah.
Well, you got to pay for your slip reservation and stuff like that. It's not like there's an upcharge to going with the rendezvous, and you got a lot of sponsors kicking in stuff like that for these kind of exclusive events. But for dockage and just a little stuff like that, it's just like going on an actual vacation. You're gonna have your little costs associated with it. You're gonna have to fill a bit with fuel, of course.
Yep. Yeah. And there was a ticket associated with it, but the cost of the ticket for the experience of what we got out of that ticket was, I mean, if you're going to own one of these brands that you're actually going to the rendezvous, very minuscule. It was a very small price.
Yeah. It's a good question, Landon.
Yeah.
Got Vito down here again. That is one of the reasons why we are going with MarineMax. A great idea in marketing strategy to get owners, MarineMax, and boat builders together. Can't wait. We can't wait either, Vito. So
yeah.
Welcome aboard.
What's Vito got? What's Vito buying? You know?
Uh,
What are you getting there, Vito?
Yeah, drop it down there, Vito. So I guess that kind of talks about a little bit of the difference between rendezvous and in getaways. But let's tell some stories there about some getaways. Keith, you go first. What is your favorite getaway to go on and the best time you've had?
Well, for the most part, I've just been, kind of done the local getaways because they can't cut me loose out of here for a week or two to go on something that's really crazy. But
yeah, the store would catch on fire if you weren't.
But a couple years ago, though, it was like the New Year's getaway. We were over at the Marriott, and the fireworks are spectacular and everything's great, and the dinner and all that stuff. Well, the next morning, I wake up and went out and fired up the grill on the swim platform. I think it was I don't know if I had a 40 dancer or something, but nothing but like 3 pounds of bacon cooking on the grill early in the morning, wafting down the dock. People are waking up, coming out of their boats, and you get this like human chum, man. It's like a magnet, So, then the Bloody Marys and the mimosas and the shrimp and the bacon and the whole thing, but it's just kind of. That was fun, just watching everybody kind of wake up. And then, I mean, you guys that have followed along on these blogs and stuff know I'm pretty passionate about. I do the scalloping trip a lot, so that's just fun getting up there in that crystal clear water. You're out there on your boats and the families and the kids, swimming around, and it's an underwater Easter egg hunt, as they say, and it's just, it's nice. It's a nice hot day in August. You come back, you jump in the spring, 72 degrees, fresh water, so it's
I love those pictures
nice
on your desk of all those old school getaways, with the Cabos and, the sedan bridges and stuff like that.
Yep. It's been a big mix over the years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You got a lot of cool pictures. What about you, Matt? What's
So mine was from this past trip. It also has to do with cooking. On Saturday, it was kind of like a do whatever day. So I was with 5 people, and 2 of the guys went on a chartered fishing trip. So they went out, and the rest of us, we took the boat out. Just kind of enjoyed the day. It's a 500 fly, so we had the gunnels down and just enjoying it. The weather was great, water was blue. But when they were coming back, we actually picked them back up from the dock, and they had fresh fish that they caught like 4 hours prior. And so we did the same thing. We went back out to where we were anchored, and we dropped the grill on the swim deck, right? And I put the platform down so my feet were in the water. And I'm just grilling this fresh fish. I don't even know what fish we ate. Like I don't even remember what exactly it was. But you know what? It was pretty awesome. Everybody was just hanging out, enjoying the boat, and it was just to be so surreal being from New Hampshire, to be sitting in Key West, cooking this fresh fish that was swimming in the ocean like 4 hours earlier, right on the grill, and just eating it with just a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. It's perfect. Perfect.
You know what my favorite thing about New Hampshire is?
What's that?
Northwoods Law. I'm hooked on that show, man.
Yeah.
That and Lone Star, when I go over to Texas. But
yeah,
what a great series, man. I like that.
I watch that all the time. Whenever I see it flicking, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's my backyard.
Yeah.
And when you're from New Hampshire, you pretty much think you know everybody.
Right.
It's like a small state. You're like, oh yeah, that's my cousin, cousin Adam over there. That guy gets them all the time.
Cousin Adam shooting from the road again.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah, too funny. That's funny that you say that. Yeah, because we really do just hang out in the woods. That's it. But so that would be my greatest memory. It was just being able to cook there with just that view behind us. Everybody's enjoying it. The customer was loving it. I mean, everybody was loving it. That's probably my go-to.
Yeah, it's a whole different world down there. What do they call it? They call it Key West fever, Key West disease, or something like that. That people go and they don't want to leave.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave.
Yeah,
I was at the airport. Like, really? Even the airport was like little. It was perfect.
Where'd you fly out? Did you fly out of Lauderdale or Key West?
So we were gonna take the boat back, but the weather was too rough. So actually, the captain's down there right now. He just made it past Miami. He's bringing it back to the BMR. So we flew out of Key West because we were gonna initially ride the boat back. Me and the captain, because he needed a deckhand. I was like, yeah, I'll take that ride, of course. When am I gonna be able to do that again? So I ended up just flying out of Key West. Because it was just too rough. And he said it was clear today.
Yeah. Who'd you fly with, if you don't mind me asking? Did you fly with Silver?
Who's sober? No. I did a layover in Miami, and then I took Delta on the way back.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Wasn't bad. Good flight.
Yeah.
Can't complain. Delta's all right.
Yeah.
So how about you, Nick? It's got to be the Aquila Rendezvous, right?
Oh man, I love the Aquila Rendezvous, and that was the first time. And anything about Rendezvous as well is you're gonna make a big trip like that. I mean, that's a 5 to 7 hour trip, really. You know, from here on an Aquila 44, whether you're taking the inside or the outside, and it's scary. It is. If you've never done that before, it's like, man, that's a big trip. But you know, one, you get to do that with a bunch of other owners. So, you know, if anything goes wrong, you've got support there. You just follow the boat in front of you. You're not going to run aground or anything, unless, of course, they run aground. But hopefully somebody knows what they're doing on a leading lady. Hopefully Captain Keith's driving the front boat or something.
Not Patrick.
But, yeah, not Patrick. But,
Captain Sandy.
Yeah. But, yeah, you follow a bunch of boats down there. And the cool thing about that is you do it one time, and you can do that trip by yourself. You're just building that confidence. It's just one more thing to do, one other thing to, you know, do on your boat and, you know, entertain and stuff like that. Obviously, if my wife's watching, she's going to kill me if I don't talk about my favorite memories. I got engaged on a owner's rendezvous down there at South Seas Resort in Captiva, wow. So we love it there. But I got kind of a funny story. So we were down there, and I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, it's no secret. I mean, these owners, these yacht owners especially, they love to party, and you know, they don't skimp out at all when it comes to food or drinks or, you know, entertaining, anything like that. And we were there. We partied hard the first night, and you know, I went to sleep, and I was actually staying on, you know, my good friends and owners, Lou and Nicole, on their Aquila 44 at the time, and we were down there. We partied it up, and we had to meet for 10 o'clock for the captain's meeting the next morning before we did our raft up there by Cayo Costa. And you know, all the owners are up. There's probably 20 Aquilas in this group, and all the owners, they're meeting. Can't find Lou and Nicole anywhere. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I got to go to the meeting, you know, get my bag. And I come back. I'm like, man, I can't just go into the master stateroom and wake them up. And, you know, that'd be rude. So I'm like, okay. And we were blocking everybody in. So I said, all right, I'm going to fire up the engines and I'm just going to go. And hopefully they're inside the boat. And so I get off the boat and I'm just leaving. I'm leaving South Seas and Captiva, and Alex says, hey, I think you really should check and make sure that they're in the boat. And then I started panicking. I'm like, man, what if I left them back there at the dock? What if they were just getting breakfast? I go downstairs and I'm like, you know, I got to do it. So I knock, open the door, and they're like, all right, we're waking up. Just wake us up when we get there. And then, yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny. And then we docked up, did our thing. You know, they slept in a little bit, but that was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to the next one. They just presented the date. So if there's any Aquila owners watching, make sure you reach out to your sales consultant or your marketing person and sign up for that. You're not going to want to miss that. And that's definitely it is my most favorite memory, and I'm looking forward to it this year. So with that being said, we've got Lewis Steed here with another good question. Being new to boating and anticipating delivery of a Sea Ray 290 SDX, good choice. I look forward to attending a future rendezvous. Can an owner attend any event or arranged according to boat type? It's a good question. There's a couple different ways you can go with that. What do you think, Matt?
So, I mean, it depends on what we're doing. I mean, like, we have an Aquapalooza up here. Do you guys do that too?
Sarasota does.
Yeah. So what we do is, you know, we'd invite any brand, any size boat, anything. But with the rendezvous, I think it is manufacturer specific. Am I right by saying that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Sea Ray is such a legendary brand. I mean, we'll definitely have Sea Ray getaways depending on where you are. It really, you know, so any event, you could be invited to, unless it is like a rendezvous for that specific manufacturer.
So good question, Lewis. I think that's the difference. Another main difference between a getaway and a rendezvous. So either way. All right, we got Lisa Love again. Good question, Lisa. Lisa Love 9000 from YouTube. What did you guys do on the Galleon Rendezvous? Are there activities, or do you just hang out in a marina with the other people on the trip?
I can take that. So on the Galleon, so right when we arrived, I mean, we were welcomed with like a charcuterie board, a new cooler, and, you know, they led us to the next, you know, it wasn't like we were being cattled anywhere. It was the most laid back, structured event I've ever been a part of. So it was like, You get off the boat, we all tie up. You know, we're like, okay, now what? We just got off the boat 9 hours, we're tired. And then we walk over, and Julie Balzono, no, Abby, it was Abby right there. And she's like, here's your bag, Matt. Here's the captain's bag. Julie comes over with all the gifts. We go back to the boat, and they said, wait. There's drinks at the bar right next door with live music. Everybody was there, galleon hats. I mean, it was perfect. So, I mean, that was just the first thing right off the boat. And you didn't have to attend anything if you were too tired. They're like, you can come now or you can go later. And then, they hand you, everything there is to do the next morning. They have breakfast lined up, not like 9 a.m. either. It's like stroll in from 10 to 12. Here's, it's good food. They did like a Kenyan cooking display. It's pretty cool. And then after that, you got a few hours, and then, it just goes slowly but surely throughout the day. And then you're like, oh, it's 5:00. Let's go to dinner. And then like at the dinner, and you set up on a trolley, and they brought you to this like extravagant, like poolside marina with like a dinner and a stage, and they had a themed dinner. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do, and you're in Key West or whichever event you go to, it's going to be at some, special place, with a Duval Street or anything like that. So there's almost too much to do. There's too much to do, and you don't have to do anything if you didn't want to. That's what I was worried about with my group. It was a guy's trip. So I was like, is this family oriented? Is this just guys? But everything was perfect. There was families laughing. There's actually one of the favorite things I did was the scavenger hunt. So the scavenger hunt, we were like, do we really want to do a scavenger hunt until we started doing it? And I was like, this is perfect. They were like, what's your team name? And, at first we're thinking about it. And then we see all these people, like the families really getting into it. And these guys I was with were like, yeah, all right. And so our team name, 1 out of 10, was 10th place. So we decided, let's take this easy, have a good day, go to Fat Tuesdays, get the most colorful drink, kind of hang out, so there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to do. A lot, but you're not being cattled by any means.
Let's talk Key West for a moment. This is something that I'm pretty well versed in. So let's talk about Key West. We're talking about the Duval Crawl. Of course, Duval Street is one of the premier party spots that exist. Keith, you go first. Matt, you go second. I'll round it off at third. Keith, what are your favorite bars in Key West?
Irish Kevin's.
Yes.
That's my place.
Number one.
Would be number one. Then it just doesn't really matter after that. I mean, you got Hog's Breath and, any of the rest of them. But Irish Kevin's is just so much fun. Yeah.
You could go to Irish Kevin's on any given weekday, any given weekend. I don't care what time of year it is. I don't care what's going on. They're going to have live music, whether it's New York Poly. I think they've got the Jay and Jim show. And of course there's Irish Kevin playing too. And it does not matter. You're going to have a good time. And I'm not paid by Irish Kevin's at all. I've got I came, I drank, I don't remember shirt, but I mean, I love Irish Kevin's and the singer will sometimes heckle people in the crowd and it's always a good time. Of course, we're not college kids on spring break anymore. You're not. I mean, that's what Fat Tuesdays is for, but whole different story.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? What's your go-to place?
I liked Irish Kevin's, and then that place was great. They heckled us. They found out we were from Boston, so they just dug into
Game on.
dug into us. There's people from New York, so they were just instantly Red Sox, Yankees, just going after it. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then we went to Rick's. You guys know Rick's?
I know Rick's.
Yeah,
there's the pizza. There's the pizza below Rick's. That's
So we went up Rick's. And then we went down, and then we found like it was like a full on concert. We're like, this is unbelievable. Yeah. So it's just you kind of get lost in all these little streets and bars, and next thing you know, you're getting breakfast. So it was a good time.
So we've got Kendra Schiappa here. Do they have the same events for the Aquila group trip? Great question, Kendra, and hope to see you this year. Kendra's got a new Aquila 44, so nice. welcome them to the family. They do. They absolutely do that. It's if I recall correctly, how it was we make our way down to South Seas, and the first night was the dinner there, and I'll tell you what, that is. I mean, people talk about like the tailgate beer. They talk about the football game beer. The best beer is after you're driving in Aquila for 7 hours, you dock up. That's the one. That's a good time. And then you have that dinner that night. It's super laid back. And then the next day's the raft up where they plan that. And then they give you a lot of freedom too. Like, they'll have structured stuff, but they'll give you a day where it's like, hey, go hang out by the pool, go go do whatever. You're not tied down to being with the group. So that's a good question, Kendra. And as far as the Aquila needing a Key West trip, Landon, maybe we can make that happen. I know that cool thing about Aquila owners is they put on a lot of their own little trips too together to go down to the Keys or over to the Bahamas. So I think that there's a few of them out there now. I had one go down to Marathon and stuff like that. So that's a good question. But who knows? Maybe someday marketing team and the manufacturers will put together a Key West trip as well. And speaking of marketing, guys, we got Landon DeGraff saying Irish Kevin sucker me in the Irish car bomb shots. Of course, loved it.
Yeah.
Sure you did, Landon.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, in all seriousness, though, let's speak about the fact that service is on site and ready to work. Matt, I believe that your customer really thought that this was awesome. So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was great. So on the run down, our captain noticed that there was like a trim tab issue.
Yeah.
And, he actually was a previous captain for Marine Mac. So he knew Matthew Hayes was going to be there from Gallant, which I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And the V-berth, the AC wasn't working as well as it should. It was cold air, it just wasn't as cold. Mm-hmm. The minute we got there, Bob Burke, the head of Gallant, comes over and says, hey, how are you? And then Matthew Hayes follows right up and says, what's going on? I'm like, this is perfect. So, I mean, all the issues were addressed by the next day before we took it out. I mean, it was perfect. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing to have, just for like the little stuff. You know what I mean? Like, let me take a look at this. It was just something that I wasn't aware that was going to be there. That just played a big factor into making sure that, the customer's happy. And at the end of the day, so that was huge. I thought that was big,
Yeah.
It's not like he was running around crazy, but I mean, he had some stuff to do, which I thought was good.
Well, just boats, man, especially when you're talking big boats like that. There's a lot of systems. There's a lot of little things that might seem like the end of the world, but in reality, it might be just flipping a breaker or checking something somewhere along the way or resetting something, and just to make sure that everybody has a good trip. The peace of mind just to have that support there is like, dude, have fun. Just let it rip. You know what I mean?
Huge.
I mean, seriously, just think about the construction of all these boats we sell. I mean, it's like, once you get to that size, it's like taking a house or a condo, putting it on water and shaking the hell out of it and expect, you want your cupboards to stay closed and this, everything not to fall apart. And that's what happens. I mean, you're torturing that boat.
I say that all the time. I'm always like, you're buying a condo and you're going 30 miles an hour through 6-foot waves.
Right.
I'm like, stuff's gonna break. That light might come loose, but we can secure that.
We can fix it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with boats too. You're talking big boats. Chances are you're gonna have a little thing here or there. Thankfully, it's not a plane, so you're not gonna fall out of the sky. So you just kind of got to roll with the punches a little bit, and you learn little things about your boat here along the way. But it's just have fun. Boating, I always say it. Boating is recreational and it should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I have to say about that. Keith, we got a good question for you. We got Brian here saying it's a bit early, but where is the best place to go for Independence Day? Keith, what's your? Let's talk Tampa Bay area. Then Matt, you can maybe round it off up there. I know you guys throw a lot of big 4th of July parties. Mm-hmm. Keith, where's your go-to place in the Tampa Bay area?
I could so roll with that question, but I'll leave it alone. Pretty much anywhere where you can, get out on the water and go see fireworks. Mm-hmm. I mean, out off the beach, you get offshore a little bit, you can see Clearwater Beach's fireworks. You can see them off St. Pete Beach. Downtown St. Pete does a spectacular job. Same thing with downtown Tampa. Just, anywhere where you can get, and even in Boca Chica Bay down there by you, Nick, I mean, Gulfport, has a display that goes down off of there. So, just get out on the water, where you can see that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk New England. What about you, Matt?
So New England, I mean, pretty much anywhere on the water, you're going to see fireworks. But I was fortunate. So the South Shore, Southern Massachusetts, I had some family down here. So the 3rd is huge for them. The 3rd is like their blowout, their Independence Day. That's when they do it. And then you go up to the lake on the 4th. So it's like perfect. So, you go hang out on the ocean and then you go up to the lake. You go to Meredith, you go to Weir's Beach. And then Boston, obviously huge. You can go right on the harbor with all those fireworks. Last year was tough, obviously, due to COVID. Everything was pretty much canceled, so except private shows everywhere. But, in New England, I mean, a lot of coastline, but a lot of lakes too. I mean,
Mhm.
San Diego has a huge show. There's a lot of different places you can go, but
Yeah.
the third
Yeah, your
season, oh sure, I gotta kick that.
your lakes are a little different up there. You don't need to worry about fist fighting an alligator like you do in some of our lakes down here.
That's true. That is true. I lose a pinky to a snapping turtle before I lose a leg to a gator. That's
Alligators and snakes.
Dude, I am not a fan. I don't know how you guys swim in fresh water.
We don't.
Yeah.
I
don't.
really. I mean, I have, but it's
Yikes.
Well, our customers though, that with the nautiques and we do have a lot of freshwater customers live on lakes and stuff, but they're pretty much you're out boating and swimming out towards the middle of it. You're not up along the reeds and the lily pads and the up in the swamp part. You're out in the open water.
Yeah. I heard to stay away from lily pads.
Yeah, the alligators are always more afraid of you than you are of them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's Florida stuff, man. You learn to ride an alligator when you're in like the second grade. Keith, you did it. You put the saddle on and you let it rip.
Just let it rip.
That's right.
But all right, guys. Well, let's see here. We've had some good questions today. Next week we've got a big episode. Next week, this is something that I get asked all the time in sales. This is something that Keith probably gets 100 times a week as a captain, and it is a tale as old as time, but I'd say that it is even bigger here in the past 10 years or so, and that is your catamaran versus monohull questions answered, pros and cons either way. And we've got Dave Biggie from Marine Max Vacations joining us. The guy is an encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to power catamarans, and there's going to be a lot of good nuggets on that episode. We're all going to get a lot out of it. Keith, me, everybody. Matthew watching at home or in the office, he's going to get a lot out of that episode too. So make sure you tune in next Monday at 3 o'clock, and that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to have the link posted here later in the week. But with that being said, that's the future. We're living here in the present. Matt, thank you very much for joining us. Don't freeze up there. You've got a short little time that you've just got to make it through, and you'll have your summers up there, and just stick it out, man.
I know, dude. My fingers are crossed. It's almost here. We actually have 5 days until spring.
Then you got to get all those boats de-winterized, and the service is going to be busy up there.
They're really busy already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we got a question. We got one more final question down there from Biggs Photography, and I'll be staying in Ocean Reef for the next week. Is there an Aquila in inventory down there? I'm gonna go ahead. I'll speak to it, but no, there's not a new one down there. But I know that there's plenty of Aquilas in the Keys. I know there's 44s, 48s down there. Quite a few 36s, but I'd say if
there's a private owner somewhere in there with one.
Yeah, there is. I don't know which key it's on, but
there's an Ocean Reef somewhere.
Oh, no kidding, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. A lot of nice boats down in Ocean Reef. A lot of nice yachts down in Ocean Reef.
Yeah.
And then got John done here for the next week's episode. Be sure to clear up the confusion. All right, got you loud and clear, John. We'll work on that a little bit. There we go. We got a question for you there, Matt. We got Kendra Schiappa here. Question for New England guy. Where can you rent a boat on Lake Winnipesaukee? Good question.
Probably Weir's Beach right off the pier. You do jet skis, pontoon boats. They probably have some Sea Rays or something like that you could go. Actually had a customer. He rented a chaparral. I think it was right off of the pier at Weir's Beach. So that's definitely going to be your go-to spot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, once again, Matt, thank you for joining us. If you ever need anything down in St. Pete, you know that we're just a phone call away. Eager to help, and look forward to meeting up sometime when it's not negative 50 degrees.
Yeah, come on up and visit. Come on up.
Yeah, I will.
Thanks, guys, I really appreciate it.
For sure. Keith, you want to sign us off, man?
Yeah, man. Just want to say once again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. It's our pleasure. And Matt, nice meeting you, talking to you today. Nick, as always. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you out on the water. Be safe.